vortex. So, I'm sure that you can gather by the tone of my voice that today is a sad day. I sometimes get really sad. And I stress the really part of that because it does feel really extreme. But I guess that's why, like, I'm such a raw person. Like, I really don't understand people that are dishonest. I guess because, like, it never even occurs to me that I can lie about anything. You know? I mean, I suck at it anyway whenever I've tried to lie about stuff. So it doesn't make sense for me to do bad things because then I would have to lie about them. I guess if I wanted to steal liquor, now would be the time to do it because it's not like they're going to prosecute or anything. But I quit drinking a long time ago. So unless I'm stealing it for other people, there really wouldn't be a purpose to it. I think that I did that in my past because I didn't have confidence. And so sometimes I think that the reason why I lived that kind of a life was not just so I could say Jesus died for that, but so that I would understand that sort of mindset. Now, I'd like to think that I have, like, overcome a lot of that. And I don't really have to deal with those sorts of things anymore. You know, urges that I have to do stuff that's not good for me. I don't really have those kinds of desires. Now, stealing is definitely a compulsion. And once you start doing it, good luck trying to stop. Because I would say that this sort of rush that I got from it wasn't really about the dopamine as much as it was about, like, this idea of myself being one of the really cool, rebellious kids that stole from the capitalist corporation. But yeah, just looking at our society and looking at all of the excuses that people make, I can explain why people make those excuses. I can explain the mindset that leads people down that path. And what keeps people staying on that path is the victim mentality. You know, earlier today I was crying because I just feel so lost. Like, I don't vibe with anything. I hate everybody. And if people like me, that's a problem too, because now they're gonna want stuff. Not just sex, But, like, time. And it's, like, so hard for me to force myself to do things that I know would be better for me. So, imagine that, but accompanied with people. I just don't have that part of me. Like, whatever that was, I, like, killed it off. Because I hate society. So it's like I have to force myself to interact with it. I have to force myself to do things with it. I have to force myself to, like, be part of this world. Because if you want the God's to honest truth, I really just want to kill myself. And it's not necessarily because I'm so unhappy or anything like that. I mean, I am happy. Like, when I'm happy, I'm really happy. But when I'm sad, I'm really, really, really fucking sad. And I don't think that anything's going to get better. Not with me, because, I mean, it's always the same. You know, it's just going through the motions. And I know that this is just part of it. This is just a seemingly bad day that I'm having. And it's really not a bad day. You know, it's a beautiful day outside. It's not too hot. I took a walk. I hung out at the park. I made myself a smoothie. It was sweeter than the last smoothie that I drank. Probably because the banana wasn't as ripe. So it was like a little bit sweeter. I pet my cat. The thing is, though, so many people have this false conception of life. Like, if you do X, Y, and Z, you'll have X, Y, and Z, or you'll be X, Y, and Z, you know? And this is the lie of the world. This is the lie that they sell you to try to control your behavior. And so when it comes to lifestyle decisions, they will say things like, well, it used to be, you need to get married, you need to have kids, you need to have a stable job so you can take care of your family. You know, that used to be considered the American dream. Now it seems like people just want to be able to survive. People just want to be able to have a roof over their head and get their bills paid on time. I'm really blessed that I have a job that I appreciate enough to stick around. I've quit my job 2 other times. I just ended up going right back. That's why I refuse to leave. But everybody I work with, like, for the most part, people really enjoy working there. And they really enjoy, you know, the camaraderie that is there. Probably because we're all fucked up, you know? It's like everybody's got something wrong with their brain. Clinicians would call that ADHD. I just call it being interesting. Anytime you're interesting, doctors are like, you need pills. You need pills. You can't keep being interesting. I hate that. But unfortunately, you have too many people in society that will believe that there's something wrong with them all because they're having a human experience that's uncomfortable. You know? If anybody had seen me crying today, walking around my neighborhood, they would assume that I needed to be on some kind of antipsychotic or a mood stabilizer or something. But women are supposed to cry. I mean, I would say that human beings in general are supposed to cry. That's why we have tear ducts. That's why we have a heart. That's why we have eyeballs, so we can see things. And the images that we retain on our fucking retinas send messages to our brain. And if those messages are bad, then like, yeah, we should cry. You know? Apparently the olfactory sense is the strongest when it comes to like processing memories. So if you just smell something, it'll like trigger a memory. And that's so true. That's why my favorite smell in the entire world is freshly cut grass, because it reminds me of being a child. It reminds me of like all those summers where I was playing outside like children are supposed to do. You know, all the kids in my church, whenever church is over, they're like running around outside, and it's really beautiful. And I'm really happy for them. I'm really happy that some children still get the childhood that was promised them. But you know, I thank God every day that I wasn't born in this fucking era, because I really, really, really feel for these children. It's just so sad. Somebody subscribed to me, somebody from India. Shout out to you. I'm sorry, I don't remember how to pronounce your name. It was like Shamusin or something like that. He's a chef, I think, and he works in India. So he does all this stuff on skillets. He has a video that is all about how like the smartphone is like making families hate each other. I think that what's happening is that the smartphone is a representation of how sick the society is. So basically, technology, social trends, political events, and, you know, different things that we have in the culture are like a representation of where we are as a society. So there are people that have an iPhone and they use it when they need to, and then they put it away. But that's a small fraction of society. The rest of them are really, really sick. And many of them are already on medications. So that means that they really don't want to get down to the bottom of their illness. They're willing to trust a head doctor. Now, y'all know my feelings on that, but I really don't want to go into it again. But I would say that the reason why the phone culture is so bad is because it just keeps proving that our society is so fucking crazy, you know? And I see couples and families at the restaurant where I work, and I think to myself, you know, if they weren't on their phones, it would be something else that they would have in front of them to keep them from having to interact with the person sitting in front of them. you know? Because I was always the type of person that was like, you know, staring out the window. So I guess that's why, like, I don't need a TV. I don't need to keep this little gadget on me to distract me. Like, I already have my own means of distraction. It's called my head, okay? I never thought that that would be a luxury. Days like today, it doesn't feel like it, but I know that tomorrow will probably, maybe not tomorrow, but maybe a couple days from now. Whenever I go through these like little funks, they usually last about 3 days. That's why I have a saying, just wait 3 days. Because that's typically how long a funk will last, at least for me. Where, I'll just feel like shit. You gotta trust that eventually you'll get to somewhere better. I mean, if I didn't trust that, I would have killed myself a long time ago. I mean, I guess it's good that I believe in God, because I figured that God would be mad about that. Especially because I'm adopted, so I feel like that would be an additional slap in his face. You know? But what does that sound? You hear that, right? Okay. I'm not just losing it. It's from one of those trucks over there. Yeah, man. I think that I'm already, like, sick enough without the help of a sick society, without the help of culture, without the help of politics. My religion used to make me kind of sick. Not the Orthodox religion. It's kind of weird, like, the Orthodoxy really helped me clear a lot of that up. The Orthodoxy really gave me discernment. And that was definitely a struggle for a long, long time. Hold on a second. Because if you have a schizophrenic brain, that means that you're constantly going to be receiving messages. And this is how the devil plays with us, okay? So, we'll get these messages and we'll convince ourselves that it's from God, but it's actually from the devil. That's why I don't just jump to the conclusion that, oh, because I have a dream, that means something really significant about the future. Because a lot of people will say that. They're having dreams or they're having prophetic messages. I guess it just really depends upon, like, whether or not that actually happens. Say you have a prophetic message of, like, don't go to the party. Say you get invited to a party and, like, there's a prophetic message. It's like, don't go to the party. And then, like, later on you find out that, like the house caught fire or something like that, I think that those kinds of messages are applicable in your personal life, depending on the situation. But when it comes to the world, like, this is going to happen on this date or whatever, I just think that that's, like, a way for the devil to fool with us. By thinking that we know shit, Whereas, like, if we just get a general vibe from something, there's an energy. Like, I've always gotten the vibe that Americans were really stupid, which is why I never understood why people could take pride in living in this country. But I don't want to do things that make me more a part of the world. I don't want to do things that make me, like, subscribe to the culture that I hate even more. And so I just have a natural disgust with things like smartphones and things like Twitter and Facebook. And I mean, I really, really hate Instagram so much. I hate it. I'm doing it because a drunk person told me to do it. But really, though, I'm trying to just bite the bullet and force myself to do things that I don't want to. Because if somebody sees it and is helped by it, then I'm wrong to keep insisting that it's wrong and that there's no good in it. Because you can always, like, take something bad and make it good if you have God in you. Just like you can always take something good and make it bad if you have the devil in you. And I think that's what the problem is with a lot of churches. And that's why I love my church so much, because I just feel like it's full of people that genuinely want to be closer to God, and that's why they go. So I just don't ever want to do anything that makes it harder for me to be able to communicate with myself. I don't want to do things that make me ashamed. Because I've already lived that life, man. I don't want to compare being on Instagram to being a drunk. But just the fact that people, like, literally wake up every single day and immediately get on their phone and start scrolling. It's like, why would anybody be comfortable living in this world? The fact that that is normal, the fact that that is socially acceptable, just proves why nothing is worth salvaging. Because if that's what people do on a regular basis, what the fuck do they value about their own experience? What do they value about their human relationships? What do they value about the natural world? Absolutely nothing. So of course somebody like me is extremely off-putting because, I'm taking a hatchet to that world that they live in. But,
That's what I'm supposed to do, damn it. That's what I'm supposed to do.